Okay, hello, we're live. Welcome back to Pricebook Wednesdays. We're getting a little bit better each week, learning the streaming software a little bit more. We finally have it scheduled on Facebook. And let's go ahead and start sharing. We're going to go over inputting your hourly rate and markup into Housecall Pro. Let's see. Okay, and my screen should start sharing here in a moment. Very cool. So we've been working inside of our Housecall Pro, building it out. We were just making some examples here for social media, for some pictures, for some thumbnails. And it's kind of cool from what, ugly looking pictures are to what our pictures look like. We did see inside of a competitor's price book this week, and we saw the images. I couldn't believe that's what they were passing off as images. So I just don't. We loaded up images in our plumbing book. We're working on them all. So HVAC is coming next. We loaded up images in our plumbing book just to have them ready to go. And next is we're going to be building out all of our services so we can have that live. They haven't been able to get to it yet, but they're going to come through and turn on the toggle for the calculate flat rate price. They're going to add the labor rate and the amount of hours that it takes for this specific job, and they're going to add material. And you would pull this material from the spreadsheet. Whatever is in that row for services, you would take all that material and just copy and paste it, because in here, the way we have this set up is that as long as you bring over the information correctly, you would just copy and paste it. So let me bring this over for you real quick. It won't merge together. So we're a dishwater supply line, dishwasher water supply line with valve. All the parts we're going to copy that first part number, and we're going to put it right into here. And it's now part of that job. I'm going to cancel this out so when my team does it, that there's not an issue. But we're going to go over the price book settings. This is if you have your book built into Housecall Pro using the Housecall Pro flat rate feature. And you don't need to use it for every service. You can use it for whatever services you want. Sometimes it's easier. We talked last week about the markup and how Housecall Pro only allows one markup schedule. It doesn't allow you to have different markups for different services. So you may have some services built out using the Housecall Pro's flat rate feature and other services that are maintained by a spreadsheet or manually. So we're going to make sure our labor rate is good. I entered an example of an hourly cost of $200 and an hourly price of $350. You want to make sure when you're entering these numbers, it helps with your reporting and for each service, letting you know what your gross profit is and your markup. So your hourly cost is your break even. So you'd want to calculate your overhead by the hour and place it into here, and then with your marked up price. Now, when you're marking up, you can, I'm very sorry, we used to have our calculator on our website. We just took it down because we did a website redesign. But you want to add in a percentage of margin here, and 55% is a good target. Some choose to go higher. I sort of new to me, but for electrical services is 70% gross margin. So you'd want to calculate that onto your hourly cost And remember, there's two different ways of marking up. You have your gross margin markup and then like a material markup, which will always be a little less than gross margin. And then we would enter your material rates or your material markups. We're going to copy and paste it from our side, from our price book, and put it in. Because the way our sheet is set up is that this is the data. This is all of your data. Yes, in the beginning, as you first get it and you're learning your price book, use the spreadsheet. But when you feel comfortable, build into Housecall. But everything is here. All of your information is needed. So here in your markup and tax, we have a material markup. And this is what we want to enter to Housecall Pro. Let's see here. That's a little ugly. That's a little ugly. That's better. And between your material markup and your labor rate, you're going to have increase in your markup and your gross margin inside of each service. Here, your markup and gross margin. This is an important number here. And that works off of your hourly rate and your material markup. Price book settings, materials to the markup, and we're going to edit these. And it was already shooting a pretty good gross margin of 52% on that one service. But what we're going to do is we're going to copy this cost end and put it in material cost 2. It'll auto update here in your next field. So you don't have to worry about entering anything in here. You just always have to do what the material cost is to. And that's what ours is also. If you were to edit this and put $5, it'll change. We wanted to try to mimic Housecall Pro as best as possible. And then just copy and paste. That's all this is. We set this up so it's just entirely copy and paste. Unfortunately, there's no other way right now with Housecall Pro with entering all of this information. It's all manual entry. So with our setup, again, it's just copy and paste, and you can choose one of the different markup schedules here. Let's say you want to choose this median markup instead. You place it inside of this column, and the whole spreadsheet is changed. You just copy this over. Oh, I entered the profit in the wrong one. Or not the profit, the markup percentage. We used to do a multiplier, and the multiplier, not that it was great, but it led to some confusion, and we wanted to make this more seamless with Housecall Pro. That was the biggest thing. And we have a lot of markups just so we make sure we're covering and getting a markup on everything. And then you have the control. Where are we? We're way up here. Oh. 611. We got to do back here. I guess I don't realize sometimes how long this takes. This is what we do inside of the Housecall Pro full build out, is we set all this up. And even with having all of our information, it does take time. The greatest thing about our price book is it's the data. It's the data, and it's ready to go. And we have examples and changes. So you can set up your book with some different parameters. Let's see, we need to add more. We used to do less also. 150, let's do the 600. We're going to be really granular. Oh, just so we're making sure we're covering a spread between them. And you can change this in any way. There's no right or wrong way here. You have full flexibility. Okay. And now we set the last one at 2,000 and up. So yeah, that does take, quite a bit of time. And this is just one part of it. Imagine how long it takes to build out the flat rate services. It takes about 3 days for us to build out a whole book for each trade, attaching all of the services and images. So we just set up all of the markups, and let's head back and check out a service. So we've put in our labor rate with a markup, and then all of our markups for our material. Okay, so this one, I did look at a bathroom service before. I should have looked at the same here, but we're riding at that 52% gross margin. And let's enter our rates inside of this book. I don't have them the same. $200 and $350. So we have the same inputs here as your break even, and you're fully loaded into the spreadsheet. And what this is going to do is, with the markup and that spread, we have these two categories here, the markup and gross margin. Now, we made this again to be as closely related to Housecall Pro so that it was easy to get this information in, and you had checks to make sure that your numbers were correct as you're going through. So the calculations will be very close. They may be off like 1% somewhere. And it's just because their calculator, our calculator, and the differences. So you can always check these numbers in these two columns to make sure that it's looking right inside of your services. See, so here I'm noticing something right off the bat, is that we're seeing a bit of a difference inside of the that's why, because this is old data. This is old data from the CSV file when we uploaded earlier. It's not calculated in here. But let's go ahead and build this out. So we have all of the material inside of here. We need to take these material items and bring them over. So I know this isn't the best view here looking at these two screens. Oh, wrong way. We'll just shrink those down a little bit. And then we have our categories, or excuse me, our material. So material line item part 1. We'll take this over, calculate flat rate price. We add the material to it, just copy paste. This whole thing is copy paste, quantity of 1. Add a material item, supply line, braided dishwasher supply line. One of those, add. Our material pricing is not. There we go. A quarter turn shut off. Let's keep going down the list. Imagine having to make all this stuff up and then enter it. We spent a lot of time, and this here needs a quantity of 5. We spent a lot of time making this, entering the job costs, thinking of Housecall Pro, thinking of the user. And right now our limitation is with Housecall Pro that we can't upload flat rate features or flat rate services. You have to build them out manually one by one like I'm doing. Okay, that's all the material. Let's head over to our labor time. We have 60 minutes in here. Our labor rate is set 1 hour. And where are we here? Let's check out our pricing. The service cost is $313. Ours is $312. Again, there's always going to be a couple of calculations, and it could just be depending on the material list that we uploaded. And then our service price is $645, and this is $652. And then you want to check your markup and gross margin, and they're right in the ballpark. So, and that's what you want to make sure is your gross margin here. If you want to change this, if you want this to be higher, you change it in 2 places. Let's again shut this off. You're going to change that in 2 places. In your labor rate, you can add more of a spread. You go up on your hourly price, or you go into your materials and you go up higher on your markup. This markup that we have is a modest markup, so it can be as really copy and paste. The spreadsheet is still your source of truth. If you decide to build into Housecall Pro and you're using our spreadsheet, I say we can essentially throw it away, but you want to keep it just because of the information that's here, right? We have 2 other markup schedules. So, and again, you just have to copy and paste, unfortunately. I don't know where there's other information like this readily available. So yes, it's time consuming. It's time consuming on every end of it. I guess I'm just really lucky now that I don't do this as much anymore. My team does it, and I have the best team ever. I've never had a team like this. I've had amazing teams. Been on amazing teams, worked with amazing teams. My team currently, top notch. They all think like owners. They are worried about everything. I shouldn't say that they're worried about everything, but they worry like an owner, which is sort of comforting. And they treat me really well. And they really, really work hard. They work very hard. So we just updated all of those markups. And you can choose your own. I was contemplating adding more, but I don't know. This is a pretty good spread. We went up just a little bit on that markup and gross margin. Sorry, I'm burping up dinner. This is right at a weird time, around dinner time. I know it's hard for people to get to. We're trying to figure out if we can do more times or different time. It's 7 p.m. on the East Coast and 4 p.m. on the West Coast. So these are hard time frames. It's not even Arizona people. Mountain time people. This isn't so bad. Central time, not so bad. But for Eastern, it's after dinner, unwind time. Boots are off. You want to be relaxing at that point. And then for the West Coast, you guys are trying to finish up your days. And the last thing you want to do is rush to a live. You're trying to get the hell out of Dodge, clean up, and go home. If anybody's watching, who's somebody that always takes a call at the end of the day, no matter what, no matter how tired, you take another call on your way home. Even if it's just, you try to make it in and out, but just another call to stack the schedule. I did it most days, but it allowed me to have very successful weeks, months, days. I'd always try to end with another opportunity. Sorry, I'm finishing my ginger ale from dinner. Okay. Cool. So price book settings, labor rates, material, 2 ways to control your pricing within Housecall Pro. Now, as of right now, that markup and the labor rates are only working for your main services. It doesn't work for the pricing matrix because within the pricing matrix, we have a whole number, like a material price of $50, $100, $150, where the services have individual markups for the different prices. It's what we want for service work. And here, there's no way to do that. We tried. We spent like 3 weeks. We didn't have enough time of trying to figure out how to create this to be built into Housecall Pro. But we were having to create dummy part prices. And we were in there trying to fit them where they made sense. So we just use a higher markup. But you can control your whole price book, all of your services from those 2 tabs, which is pretty cool. I love Housecall Pro. I think it's a cool feature. I think it's kind of lacking in that sense where you can't upload flat rate. It would be pretty cool if you could upload flat rate. Excuse me, I say that as Housecall Pro's flat rate calculator where you add your material, labor rates. That would be cool. We've tried engineering a bot to do some work, but I wonder if Housecall Pro has a block that doesn't allow crawlers coming into their site. But don't tell them I said that. We can't wait for the day to be able to integrate. And we're such an infant stage, right? I remember when I first got into the Housecall Pro group, I saw something about like becoming a partner with Housecall. And, it was me. I had a couple of people working for me, but it was really small time and I was really starting to put things together. And I was like, we want to be a partner. And I tried emailing and we got denied. I didn't fully apply, but somebody nicely was like, you're not our partner just yet, but I'm coming Housecall Pro. I'm working towards it. We integrate as best as we can. We build out into Housecall. We know the features. It's just limited with the manual side behind it. But that's why you hire us. We'll take care of that, and then you just maintain it. We do the full build out. We have the staff to do that. This is what we do. You guys are service providers, right? You go out and do your plumbing, electrical work, HVAC. So you bring your car to the mechanic. You could have a team member do it, and it's good. I shouldn't talk you out of doing it. Train your staff in house. If you can have somebody maintain your price book, yeah, it's helpful. We just have an edge that it's price books is what we do, right? This is what we're doing day in and day out. We're consulting with multiple companies daily. So the ideas that come through, the changes, it's very fluid, right? We're constantly making it better. But then there's just always little things that we do. It would be cool to, I'm trying to make more videos. Today I made 7 videos for different purposes. All right, we're about to be out of time. If anyone's here is who's struggling with social media, who's struggling making social media content, I know we don't want to be it. I'm having a very difficult time. I'm very natural here somehow in my life. I'm very, very natural. I am just talking to space. I'm natural on my kind of longer form YouTube videos when I have one of my slides. That's very helpful for me. But as soon as I whip out my phone and I try to do a little 10-second buzz video, I freeze up. Oh my gosh, I'm like a robot. All right, everybody, thank you so much. We will be back next week to talk more price books, settings, Housecall Pro. And hopefully by then we'll have our HVAC book built out, which we should be able to. Okay, thank you so much. Have a good night.